Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin and the fact that it is king, and it provides this gentle reminder to us very frequently. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. So here we are yet again. The volatility of Bitcoin is going up, and therefore the dominance is going up. And we know that the dominance can go up whether Bitcoin volatility is up because the price is going up or if it's up because the price is going down. So the contention, again, is that any type of Bitcoin volatility, significant volatility, will likely cause the dominance of Bitcoin to go up. And the reason is because when Bitcoin moves, the market listens. And a lot of times you'll find altcoin valuations against Bitcoin to bleed profusely when Bitcoin volatility is high. But most of the time, they'll at least hold up relatively okay against USD. So if you have a lot of altcoin projects that you're invested in, you might see them, they're losing Bitcoin valuation right now. Most of them are. Not all of them. I understand there's some pet projects that you guys have that might not be. But for the most part, most altcoins will bleed against Bitcoin when Bitcoin volatility goes up. You can see this fairly well in the Bitcoin dominance. Whenever the price of Bitcoin is going up very quickly or down really quickly, you'll see the dominance start to move up. So far, we're still generally within this downtrend that we've been in since early January. So you can see we've come to the bottom and then back up to the top and then back down. And then back up to the top a few times, and now it looks like we're headed back up to the top. Now, one thing you have to remember is that what would cause the dominance to go back down? Well, one of the things that would cause the dominance of Bitcoin to retrace backwards somewhat and then continue on this downtrend is if Bitcoin is not able to break out of that 42K milestone. We know that the prior all-time high about a month ago, if we go back about 1 month, it's approximately, I think it was like right at $42,000. Okay, it was right at $42,000. So one way that we would see the dominance of Bitcoin not go up, for a little bit more of this move, like essentially if this move were to continue, we know the dominance is likely to go up. But what would cause the dominance to come back down? Well, one thing that would cause the dominance to come back down is if Bitcoin were to, essentially get rejected by this level and then continue on, something like that. Okay, that would be one scenario where we would see the dominance maybe come up and then ultimately come back down. So that's scenario one, because in this situation, Bitcoin is still relatively bullish. It's still well above its 20-week moving average, which right now is, it's around 22,000 or so. You can see right here. Switch it over to the weekly time frame really quick and we can quickly see. So the 20-week moving average right now is at 22,000. Now, that would be scenario one, okay, where Bitcoin gets rejected at 42K, and then if it does, altcoins might have a knee-jerk reaction. We've always said that will be the case. But as long as it stays up here, then as we've seen week over week, the altcoin rally can continue. And then in a few weeks, if something like this were to play out, then of course every YouTuber known to man is going to start drawing these macro triangles, right? If something like this were to happen, and then maybe it's this major move like this, and then we have to figure out where we're going to go later. So that would be one scenario. The other scenario, which would basically cause the dominance to break out of this pattern and come back up to this level, up here, would be if Bitcoin is essentially able to rally past 42K and go back into price discovery mode. Okay, so if it goes back into price discovery mode and continues on to say like 50K or something, then we would expect the dominance to go up. Okay, so those would be the two main scenarios. The other scenario that could also cause the dominance to go up is if instead of moving past it, and instead of say getting lightly rejected and then continuing on, if it gets rejected fairly convincingly, and we start heading down quickly, then this would also likely cause the dominance of Bitcoin to go up. Okay, and then everyone will be talking about a double top. Remember, a lot of these patterns they can be useful in hindsight, but it's hard to make heads or tails as to what's exactly going on when you're in the middle of it, because again, the narrative can change, just like the head and shoulder patterns we talked about a few weeks ago. Whenever when it seemed like there was a good chance we were going to be heading down much lower. So with that in mind, hopefully we've covered the different scenarios. This is another key reminder that Bitcoin is king, and it's why I've said it's good to always have, in my opinion, it's not financial advice, but in my opinion, it's good to always have a majority of your portfolio in Bitcoin. Now, admittedly, it becomes hard to do that at certain phases of the cycle when altcoins are flying, right? When altcoins are just simply going through the roof, it can be hard to do that. One of the ways that you can somewhat mitigate that and try to keep your Bitcoin percentage higher is if you have, say, a high risk tolerance and you're still coming into the market because you don't really care about what happens in the short term, then you could be focusing on Bitcoin when altcoins are rallying, right? You don't chase the pump. You always chase the thing, in my opinion, you chase the thing that's not pumping. And that would not certainly be altcoins over the last 2 weeks. Of course, you could argue that riding the momentum has made some people some money, but in the same way, it's hard to know when that momentum will stop and when it'll shift, and then you can lose a lot of money. So that's one way, is you could just DCA mainly into Bitcoin if your risk tolerance is high enough to where you would want to do that. The other way you could do it is if altcoins are rallying during various phases of the cycle, instead of continuing to FOMO into them, you could take profits back to Bitcoin to prop that Bitcoin percentage up some. Okay, so that would be another strategy. And then the third strategy would obviously just be to take your altcoin profits back out to fiat or stablecoins or something, so that you're not necessarily increasing your Bitcoin stack, but you're decreasing the percentage of your altcoin portfolio by taking those profits out and systematically just playing that game as many times as you want. So those are obviously the different strategies. If we look at our regression bands to see kind of where we are, what would we need to do to get to the top of the regression band? Well, at the present time, it would correspond, the lower part of the regression band would correspond to 56,788, and then the upper part would be 83,693. So we have to remind you that this regression band is only fit to 3 data points, and it was the 3 data points. We can see all 3 of them on the BLX, but it's essentially only fit to these 3 data points. Okay, so I would say we're going to have some flexibility with that in terms of exactly where it could go, because in the same way, I mean, I'm not just saying that to say that it can necessarily go above it. I mean, it also might not make it to it. So have some flexibility with the regression band. And we'll see ultimately if we're able to push higher over the coming weeks. And if we do go to this level, then it certainly is going to turn some heads, because this level will be very, very extended, at least in the short term, right? At least in the short term. The nice thing again, though, is as these things continue to go up with time. Time is on our side when discussing Bitcoin, right? We know that time is on our side. So if you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. And as a reminder, we are having a sale. You can find the sale to the premium list, weekly reports, weekly videos, a Telegram alerts channel, Telegram chat room, a risk dashboard, premium only live streams, and more. You can find a link to the sale in the description below. Make sure you sign up, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.